Yeah, it was. You're coming to my side. I feel like this is like turning into a Star Wars kind of, I'm moving you from the dark side to the light.
No! And I hate that I can't scream about movies anymore. Isn't that bad?
Well, you're maturing.
You don't agree with me?
Yeah.
I'm going to yell at you.
Yeah, you're maturing. You're growing older.
You know, Tarantino wouldn't date women if they didn't like Rio Bravo. But Rio Bravo's a 2.5 hour hangout film with a bunch of dudes chilling. Like, I mean, people don't have to love that movie, but he would dump them.
Really?
Yeah. If you don't like Rio Bravo. What's a really weird movie, Sean? That's like, you don't like Godfather? I can't believe it. You don't like Tremors 4? Or like, what's like...
Yeah.
What, like,
that would be interesting. Like, yeah, not like Casablanca or something like mainstream. Like something that would... Like, yeah, what would be like a...
Baby's Day Out.
Like... What do you mean you don't like UHF?
Yeah.
That's like one of the iconic movies. I can't date a woman who doesn't like, how do you not like, Michael Richards' portrayal, like, yeah, I mean, that would be, you'd have some woman like, yeah, I don't want to date you either, buddy.
Wait, you like Dunstan Checks In? We're going to watch this movie together and I'm going to see what you think.
You didn't buy into the arc in Brewster's Millions when,
Listen, Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead is a classic. Man, I hated that movie. And I hated that Pool Hall Junkies movie. That was a ripoff of Pulp Fiction about 8 years too late.
I didn't see that one.
It made me... You're
not encouraging me to go see it either.
I've never been angry during a movie, but watching this movie, I just was so mad. Because it had no reason to exist other than being a Pulp Fiction knockoff. That wasn't as good.
Well...
It wasn't even trying to be its own thing. It was just trying to be a Pulp Fiction knockoff.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies like that.
But I guess it got made.
Yeah.
I mean, the Great Train Robbery was remade a year later. So, I mean, everything, it's all relative.
Yeah. I mean, if someone thinks there's money in it...
They're making it.
Yeah. I mean, but then look at the flip side. I mean, it was... Deadpool took, a viral internet campaign because nobody believed in it. And it, became a internet sensation or a movie sensation.
600 million. The second one made like 750 million. R-rated.
Right.
Imagine if it was PG-13.
Yeah.
Aquaman's already passed 800 million.
Yeah. Well, John Kennedy once said that success has a million fathers and defeat is an orphan. After the fact, there's a lot of people taking credit for Deadpool when the simple fact of the matter of it was the director and Ryan Reynolds that just pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah, and they leaked in quotation marks.
Right.
The video.
Right. So, but now there's a lot of people, I'm sure, in Hollywood taking full credit for Deadpool.
Some guy's drinking a vodka right now going, that was me.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway.
All right, so I have two questions for you before we move on. Mm-hmm. And so I was watching Quantum of Solace, and there's a scene where he's walking into a scene in, I think, London, and he walks by an extra, just a security guard extra, and they kind of look at each other with negative, like they kind of eyeball each other, and then Bond walks into a room. The guy says nothing. So I was wondering, if you could be an extra in a Bond movie, what kind of role would you want? So no lines. So you're just someone on the set. Like, you could be a crony in an orange hat who gets blown up by a lava burst. You could be, a crony who gets, whatever. You could be a cop. You could be a tourist somewhere that gets bumped into and you fall on the ground. What would be your dream extra role on a Bond film?
I think this would count. I would like to be an extra whenever they do a gambling scene.
Oh, because you'd be there for a long time.
So those guys or those men or women are just sitting at the baccarat table, or they're at not the poker scene, and that's a major set piece. Yeah. So those are actual actors. But one of the more innocuous scenes, like when Bond comes in and Xenia Onatopp is there playing baccarat, or,
and Dr. No.
Right. One of those sequences where he is gambling, but the gambling isn't a centerpiece to the plot. It's just a cool badass background, just to show Bond, winning a game.
He hits on 19 or
right,
something.
Yeah, exactly. But to be at the table with the sexual tension that always goes on in those scenes or whatever, I would want to be, because you'd get to be in a tuxedo, you would be like in the single greatest casino on the planet at the time when people envision that. So if I could choose, that would be the role I would want to have. And of course I would have some insanely beautiful date sitting next to me in some $100,000 gown, because that's how you go to the casino. Yeah. When you go to Vegas, People think it's just a bunch of old people with cigarettes hanging from. No, everyone's in like $100,000 dresses and tuxes walking around.
Yeah, I wear Armani when I go to Vegas.
Absolutely.
While I'm eating my $7 steak dinner. Like, for me, I would want to be... All right, so I've been in my extra roles, I've had to take James Purefoy away. I was a cop who dragged James Purefoy away in The Following.
A very underrated role if I could ever, if I could throw in a 2 cents for you.
I was an FBI spook or some kind of spook who dragged Omar Epps away. So I've dragged 2 big actors out of rooms before. So I would want to be... So he goes to, like, Blofeld, because I can be next to Christoph Waltz, put me in a nice, like, white outfit. Someone drugs Bond, I catch him. Or another 2 of us catch him, and we just drag him away.
That'd be good.
Because then I could carry on my goon role, and I could say Agent Blue Steel is just bouncing around from, place to place. He's really working his way up from being a prison security guard to a spook to working for Blofeld. Because you gotta be a trusted guy. If you work for Blofeld, and you and another guy are trusted to carry Bond away... Blofeld knows your name.
Right.
Like, you're not a henchman 2. You're
right.
Rick.
You might be on the Christmas card list.
Yeah. You're him and the cat with the little Christmas outfits.
You might be getting invited to the Blofeld Christmas party at the end of the year because you are he knows your name.
Yeah. And you're trusted. Like,
right.
He's not just like, who are those 2 guys that drag Bond away? And they're not going to go like, hey, this is a big place. Where do we put him?
Yeah.
Like, where's Bond? We put him in the janitor closet. Why? Well, we couldn't find the torture room.
Yeah.
It's actually more secure. Like, your torture room...
Everyone gets out of that.
There's 8 gas tanks. Like, and there's sharks. Like, that he could escape from. We put him in a locked janitor closet. With no vents. We know this, because we're...
Right. Oh, golly.
They still kill you. They still kill you. Like, you did the right thing by putting him in a janitor closet. But I just want to be the guy... that kind of glowers. I try to glower, but I'm not good at it, so I look like I'm doing Blue Steel. And then I just catch them, and I drag them away. That'd be my ideal role.
Well, and the audience needs to know that you're coming in about at 6'3", and you kind of got the look of the guy that could be, Rick.
Yeah, Rick.
The guy that would be not henchman number 1, but, the next guy down, but
I'm
still...
not Red Grant.
Right, but you're the next guy where Blofeld or, Sean Bean would know your name.
Yeah, exactly.
That sort of thing. Alex Trevelyan would know you.
Like in Hot Shots Part 2, when they bring in Topper Harley, they're like, you're the best of what's left. So after Red Grant gets wiped out, Xenia on the top, all the big, let's say 10 henchmen get wiped out. They're like, where's Rick? He's pretty good. Right?
Yeah, you wonder about you'd have to think, like, if you decide to do that as a career path, unlike in other worlds where it could take you 25 years to reach to become a senior vice president or something to that effect, you would have to think it's not a bad, if you're looking for like an accelerated opportunities to get to the top of the organizational chart, it's not a bad career path.
I mean, it's a couple of years because you have agents, right? And at least so 007, right? Let's say there's 40 there can't be 40 double O's.
No.
But let's say there's 100 agents, right? And if you kill an agent, he gets at least 5 henchmen, right? Mm-hmm. So you're gonna let's say over the course of a year you get 5 agents. He takes out about 40 henchmen. So you're moving up the queue pretty quick. Like if you start at number 100, you're gonna make it to number 6 within 3, 4, 5 years, depending on how good the guy is.
And if within the organization there is some sort of major conflict, you could move up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
The only downside is if you're henchman number 100, you're going to be like on the front line. So you got to survive. That's the only downside. You have to survive being fodder. So I feel like Red Grant, he survived.
Yeah, he made it through the snowmobile chases.
Right. It's kind of like,
the skiing chases.
It's kind of like Maximus. He's the general, but he's out there fighting like with all the infantry guys too. The reason he's the general is because, well, geez, man, I feel like he just survived more battles than everybody else,
Well,
he's the general, so...
Who's been here the longest?
Right.
How long? 3 weeks? Oh, you're the general.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like that's the only downside being a henchman number 100 is you have to survive... getting some really bad...
No, you're right. And
bad assignments.
The good thing is, remember in Batman, when he shoots... Remember the goon? That when the Joker shoots, like, Bill the thug? Remember, he takes his gun and shoots him?
Yes.
He was, like, the number 1 henchman. So when the number 1 henchman fails, the bad villain always shoots him for some reason. It's never number 100 villain. that make sense? So if you're on a mission and I'm on a snowmobile, right, and everything goes to crap, I would just wipe out my snowmobile. And I would kind of lay there for a little while. It all fails. We all go back. The number one henchman gets shot. 10 other henchmen have gone down. I've moved from 100 to 78 on my first day on the job.
Yeah. I've always been bothered by that scene and you're talking about the Michael Keaton Batman when he comes off the float and shoots his
him.
number one guy. Yeah, like he had. I mean, I understand being a psychopath and a sociopath, but even at that, like, this guy's been nothing but loyal, and he just like takes him out.
And it's still a business. Like you want your number one guys around.
And there's no. You can talk to any HR person in the world. There is no greater cost than employee turnover. I mean, that is the single biggest cost to an organization is retraining new people. And I feel like that's where master villains fail in that understanding, and is that just from an organizational standpoint, they're too impulsive, and that's ultimately why they fail.
I would stay in the 10 to 20 to 10 range as a henchman. That's my goal. Like, I want to be Rick.
You can make a nice living.
Rick all the time. Just
nice
carry
living,
bodies away.
But no blame.
Yep, exactly. And so, like, I would always kind of if we're on a mission, I'd let the number 21 guy do better than me. So then I'd be like, okay, well, he leapfrogged you. It's fine. You know, like, hey, Rick's been number 17 for 12 years. 17 gets on the helicopter at the end. Or they get on the bus that's behind the thing.
Right.
I got a good plan. I could be a good henchman. Also, listen to our podcast about henchmen. It's a really good one. I think we just broke that down. All right, next question. If you could work for any Bond villain, be a henchman for any Bond villain, which henchman would you want to work for?
Wow, that's a good question.
I got a good answer. You want to hear it? Or do you want to go first?
You know what? Because, as another podcast I listen to, when anyone says that's a really good question, that is just like buying time to think. So why don't you go first?
Yeah. Absolutely.
I don't want it to skew it, but it will. But I'm thinking. But go ahead.
Also, people go, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow.
Think.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm buying time, so go ahead.
All right, From Russia with Love.
Okay.
All right, Spectre.
Yeah.
Red Grant. He probably worked his way up, but he was allowed to work his way up. And he was given a decent amount of freedom, I feel like, in his role. He was a henchman. He was an assassin, but he was still a henchman, right? So I feel like Spectre allowed their employees to kind of flourish. And they trusted him in the beginning because he killed the Bond in, 1 minute and 46 seconds? Something like that.
Right.
So they train you really well. They put you through testing phases. If they like you, it's like they're putting you through assassin college.
Right.
And then when you're sent on a mission, you kind of have to succeed, but you're also kind of allowed to, you're not being micromanaged, I don't feel like. You're probably allowed to be out there and fail on your own, right? So when you do fail, you're not like, well, it's because of you guys. It's like, I fail because Bond bested me. So I kind of like that. I don't want to work for Dominic Green in here. He takes his best buddy, Elvis, the neck brace henchman.
I know. Just simply brilliant.
Puts a gun up and just has him get blown up. He kills geologists. Right. He doesn't care about his henchmen. You watch all these movies in layers, they all get blown up. But like, I want to work for that. They train you. They're not going to let you blow up in a lab if they've been training you for 6 years. So like, that's what I would work for. Spectre and From Russia with Love.
Okay. I'm going to take a different tact with you on this one. I think I'd like to be a henchman. And when I say this, I think that some people are going to applaud my out-of-the-box thinking here. I'd like to work for Octopussy.
How come?
I would be on an island
yeah.
of only women.
Yep.
Enough said.
What would be your henchman job? Security?
Security.
Yeah?
Security. I mean, it's and you don't even have to be good at it, because in Octopussy, they put Bond in a room, and then because it's like one of those like very old, structures built years ago, there's no like glass in the window. The guy's just, Bond just hops out the window and he's walking on the side and everything like that. And no one seems to, get fired. But the idea being is, if there's 5 henchmen on that island doing security and there's like 90 women.
Yeah.
Your odds are pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Are you signing contracts before, like what's the things?
That's a good question, because technically it was supposed to be a pure island for women.
So this is like a Wicker Man scenario where the men are just sort of they do all the work.
But come on, we're talking about women in their young 20s. I mean, is paperwork really gonna get in the way of that? And if you're the only guy and they can't go anywhere, they're not allowed to leave the island. You're kind of like,
you're playing the odds.
There you go.
Do Well, that's interesting. So you wouldn't get fired for doing a bad job either.
No.